What's up, people? I'm standing here on a rock on a hill, and from this rock on this hill, there's this certain topic I want to talk about, which is the grind. Now, I feel like I hear this term all over the place, especially being a young man like myself in his early 20s who is trying to figure out what he's going to do with his life in terms of sustainability. How am I going to make my money? How am I going to build the life that I imagine for myself? How will I be successful? Now, there seems to be this large conception that in order to get the things that you want in this world, you have to work your motherfucking ass off, and then you have to work your fucking ass off after that. Like, it never ends. You constantly have to be just pushing yourself to go above and beyond. And after you do that, for really as long as it takes to manifest whatever it is you're trying to, then you can be worthy of living that life you're trying to live. Now, what do we think about this? Sure, it's definitely healthy to have determination and to be committed to certain things within your life. You know, if you're just sort of the hobbyist who sort of like starts to dabble in one thing, then loses interest within a short period of time and never seems to find anything that sticks, then that can potentially be a problem if you're trying to find your passion and create a lifestyle around it. But on the flip side, this whole grind idea is something I've really grown to detest over the last couple years. And the reason is because it can so easily be misunderstood. The reason I think this idea of grinding exists is to motivate those lazy people who have, for the most part in their life thus far, haven't really been doing anything in terms of creating a life that is interesting and builds upon itself to bigger and better things, I suppose I could say. But what about people who have a healthy passion for something already and don't really need to have that extra kick in the ass? What if, say for example, like myself, you're already determined? I think it's very possible that this grinding, work your motherfucking ass off mentality that seems to be so heavily pushed upon us can really be unhealthy for someone like myself. And I've experienced the negative side effects. It's possible to work yourself into the goddamn ground to the point where you can't even function anymore. And literally, just to stay alive, you're going to have to take more time off than you ever would have had to if you were more smart about listening to your body, listening to intuitions that say, all right, this is enough for today. Do something else. Change it up a bit. If you're constantly working and exhausting yourself, then where's the time to recharge, to consume something, that will build yourself up again so that you can wake the next day alive and ready to give yourself 100%. Because the way this works is that, sure, you're feeling great, all right? Then you give yourself so much to the point, you're grinding and grinding and grinding, that you give yourself away so much to the point that you break yourself down to nothing. Ideally, we want to work smarter, not harder, so that we can stay up at this vital place and continue by working smart to stay there and continue to get better and better and better and better, so that we're building ourselves up. Isn't that the whole idea behind building a lifestyle based around our passion in the first place? Which is to get to somewhere that is more interesting, more advanced, better than where we are. How are we doing that if we're degrading ourselves by just so sternly executing this idea of I must work harder, I must work harder? It's like in the book Animal Farm by George Orwell, the horse named Boxer. Every day he gets up and just, I must work harder, I must work harder, I must work harder. And he never has the wits about him to just pause, to not work so hard for a second and question what he's working for. And in his case, it's something that he probably never even would have spent an ounce of energy on in the first place if he thought about it. I've certainly found myself working so much to the point where it's like, okay, what's this all for? Why? What's the point of working to the point where I'm degrading myself? And this reminds me of this thing I heard a man named Osho say, which is, ambition is the telltale sign of an inferiority complex. Now, I think there's a healthy amount of ambition and determination one can have, but if you can't come off it and at the day's end just absolutely love the life stage you're at and giving and love being there completely, then I think there's a bit of truth in what this thing Osho said, which is you're working so hard because you feel you are not enough, and you're literally working yourself into the ground because you so desperately want to escape your current life situation, but you're creating your current life situation out of this weird mentality, and you're putting yourself there. So in closing, in conclusion, it's about not only working hard. You know, it can be great to work hard and really bust your ass, but you gotta know the certain hours of the day that it's time to bust your ass. And when it's time to just stand in silence and breathe and let everything calm down. Maybe enjoy a nice meal, do some yoga, stretch, something more passive but also productive. Go socialize, make some friends, talk about your dreams with the people you love. This is all food for the soul, the spirit, so that when you wake the next day, your body is ready to work. And see, that whole cycle feeds itself, and then you're thriving. Fuck yeah. Alright, everyone. This is Tristan, coming to you from a rock on a hill. Talk to you next time. Peace.